This is a period of time in the month for reflection for me. And as July 29th approaches, I want you to know how your act of kindness, your multiple acts of kindness through delivering the meals and just getting involved to do something like this and the birthday celebrations, they meant a tremendous amount to me. And you're a wonderful human being. You have a huge heart, and I am forever grateful. I will never, ever forget what you did for me. So thank you. Hello, and thank you for joining us today. Today, I am so privileged to interview someone who made a huge impact on my life, the life of my husband and my son, over a period of several months in the fall and in the winter. And her name is Melissa Murkar. Welcome, Melissa.
Thanks, Kim. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm just so glad you were able to make time to do this with me today. Now, Melissa is a resident of Brooklyn. What's your day job? What do you normally do with your time?
Well, on a normal day, I'm a mom to three young boys, Mason, Owen, and Lucas, and I'm a wife to one incredible man who I have been with for 18 years. And I say incredible
Wow.
because anybody that has dealt with me for 18 years and still feels the same way and is supportive and by my side, he is definitely an incredible man. And I am a mom to some fur babies. And outside of the home, I work in the construction industry as an occupational health and safety manager. And with those aspects of my life, it definitely keeps me busy.
You're like an incredible woman. You're a superwoman, and this is the thing. Like, as we get into the conversation and share all of the things that you did, it just kind of blows me away that you work full time. You have three young children, and we're not talking teenagers. We're talking young children. You have a home, and I know you're involved on social media, doing different things. It's really incredible that you were able to do what you did. So let's get into it, shall we? Okay, so Melissa Murkar is responsible for organizing and implementing a meal train for me. Last fall, when I came home from rehab, my cousin informed me that this meal train was put in place, and quite frankly, I'd never heard of a meal train before. I didn't even know what it was. So, can you talk a little bit about that meal train? Like, what caused you to get involved with it, and had you been involved with them before?
So when I was pregnant for my third time with Lucas, I became, I don't know what the word is. Beforehand, I would never accept anything that people offered because I was of the mindset I did not want to um, put them out in any way because I know everybody's life is extremely busy. They have their own things to deal with, and they don't really need to help me out in any way because being the woman I am, I can do it all, right? Well,
Clearly.
let me tell you, having a third child was an eye opener. And during the first year of Lucas's life, I was very accepting to what people offered. If they wanted to come over and do a load of laundry, if they wanted to cook me a meal, if they just wanted to come over and talk, it was extremely important to me to say yes, 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 rather than no, no, no. And one of the things that was provided to me by family, by friends, and by neighbors was meals. So the first month I came home and had Lucas come home as well because he was in the NICU for 5 days. Everybody had a day and they would drop off dinner so that we didn't have to worry about feeding everybody. We didn't have to worry about stressing out, okay, what are we going to have? We got to go out and get groceries. It was all planned. And let me tell you, that went such a long way. And if we didn't want to eat that particular night, then we froze it. And it was just as good to pull it out of the freezer and pop it in the oven. So little things go a long way, and accepting what somebody wants to do is not a bad thing.
No.
And asking for help is not a bad thing. And I've really learned that since having a third child, and also dealing with the pandemic that we're currently dealing with, is asking for help doesn't change you as a person. And if somebody wants to help, they're going to offer to help you in any way that they can. And they wouldn't have asked or offered if they didn't want to. So that's a huge thing too, is someone coming forward is a sign that they are wanting to truly do something, no matter how little or how big it is. So this was something I wanted to do for you. I didn't know you.
No.
I didn't know your husband, didn't know your family, didn't know your cousin. But it was when I heard of the event that took place, I was like, what can I do? What can I possibly do from my home with having the busy lifestyle that I have for you? And I thought, okay, a meal train, because I know how much it meant for me and how far it went, like the whole meaning and the effort behind it. And I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And I reached out to your cousin and I said, could I do this when the time comes? And she said, well, leave it with me. Let me get back to you and find out if this is something that would be of interest to both yourself and your husband. So when she contacted me back and said, they're on board, and this is when Kim's coming home, so start preparing and get yourself organized. I was like on it. That was my mission, to get it organized. And I had calendars set up in my home office for each month, and I put it out there. Anybody that's interested, please contact me, because we're going to start scheduling this meal train for Kimberley. And let me tell you, the response, I don't think I was quite prepared because we had over 200 women, families, men, people within the community that reached out to both myself and your cousin. And I was like,
Wow.
OMG, like, this is incredible. And I was like, 200. I'm like, my husband's like, what are you still doing on your phone? And who are you texting? And I'm like, another person wants to be a part of the meal train, and they want to do gift cards, and they want to decorate Kim's house for Christmas. And stop it. I put on makeup for you today, and look at it. It's going to start.
No tears allowed. Yes.
And I was just like, the community we live in is absolutely incredible.
Yes.
Because we came together, uh, we came together as a community and as a group of people that have such a big heart and soul for a complete stranger. And it's like, wow, these are truly incredible people that want to do this. And some of them, when I said, okay, well, I can't put you in this month, what? Well, can you make a meal and deliver it to her and she can freeze it? And I said, oh, of course.
Yes.
And then I got to, I think we were a couple of months in, and I'm like, Kim, Rob, should I like kind of put a kibosh on it, because we're going into month 3 and I still have a long list? And they're like, and you're like, no. And I'm like, okay. And people were still like, on board and really hyped up. And it was just incredible to see, especially during a pandemic where people were kind of refraining from mingling and going outside of their home and wanting to provide stuff to individuals, again, outside of their cohort. It was just overwhelming, the response that we got and the community coming together when it was needed the most and during a time when it was needed the most. And even still to this day, you put out there on social media that you need help. And I'll tell you right now, there will be so many people that respond. We're there. What do you need? How can I help? What can I do? Like, no questions asked. That's the thing that really sticks is no questions are asked and they don't expect anything in return. And saying thank you to them and giving them cards and doing what Rob did with his CD, that meant the world. And it's things like that that you're very truly grateful for, because it doesn't happen often. I know in the past it never would happen. I think things are changing for the greater, and this was just an example that together we can make a difference. And I always go back to be mindful and respectful of everyone and everything, because you don't know when you're going to need that individual or ask for help. So it truly went a long way. And I'll tell you right now,
Yes.
they do it again in a heartbeat if and when you guys needed it. Yeah.
Wow. Well, thank you. Thank you for expressing it in that way. And you know, we heard through you, because you were the one coordinating it, that I guess you put out the message on social media. You said, I think, through Facebook. Was it a Facebook group?
Yeah, it was mainly through Facebook and different Facebook pages within Durham region. And like I said, the response was just overwhelming. And it was individuals that you have worked with in the past, people in Pickering, Ajax, Whitby, Brooklyn, Oshawa, like all over,
That was
all
one of the
over.
questions I was going to ask. Was it just in the Whitby Brooklyn community, or did it go beyond that?
It was all over, as far west as Pickering, and then as far east as Curtis.
Wow.
Yep.
You know
Yeah.
what? I kept every single card. I'm going to get emotional now.
I know the ones you're talking about.
I'm just so grateful for this. But I have in a box every single card I was given. Sometimes people's children would draw me pictures and cards and personal messages, and we're thinking of you, and get better, and we're on your side. And it was those messages from the heart that meant so much. And I got quite a range of meals from people. And I know when you cook for someone else, you do it with love, you know?
Yes.
And I know the thought that went into those meals. They were thinking of me and giving back and helping in some way through making that meal. And every single bite fed me love, not just nutrition, but love. And I'm extremely grateful for that act of community support and generosity that you facilitated.
Well, and I think, well, as you and Rob both know, my children loved coming to your house every
Yes,
day.
yes.
And when we stopped, it was like, Mom, why aren't we going to Rob and Kim's tonight? And I'm like, well, we're not going to be doing that anymore. Well, why not? They need to eat. They need food. Well, when are we going to see them next? Why can't we see them every other night like we used to? And so it was like a family outing for us too. And the boys they just loved it. They just
Well,
loved it.
it was like such an excellent way for you to set an example for children
Yeah.
of how to help someone and how to help a stranger and how to give back to your community, because that will be stuck in their minds, for the
Yes.
rest of their lives, what you did. Because yes, you protected me during the pandemic by being the one to deliver every single meal. I know some people came and delivered them themselves and left them on my front stoop, but for the most part, you were the one that every single day during the winter got in your van, packed up your kids, and drove to my house to drop off the meal. Like, what kind of a person does that? You, an amazing
Well,
individual.
and that's going based on how I felt receiving those meals in my time of need. And just to see a face on a regular basis when it was needed the most. And I'll tell you right now, kudos to you, because no matter what, every single time you open that door, that smile of yours just lit the world up.
Thank you. That's a smile of gratitude.
And that's what I said to my boys. I said, I want to be like Kim, because no matter what, she would answer that door, whether or not she was in her PJs, makeup on, makeup off, you always had a smile on your face. And they just received how you felt, and we took that home with us every night. So that was huge too, because that's how they remember you. And they just repaid that love and gratitude on the special day of yours and Rob's when we came to your house to
Yes.
decorate.
Okay. So let me ask that. That's one of my questions. So not only are you working full time, three young children, you're like crazy busy. You went out of your way to make me feel special on my birthday. My birthday was in December, and then fast forward on Rob's birthday. So can you talk about what you did on my birthday, especially?
So on your birthday, I said to Rob, I said, okay, we need to make sure that Kim has an absolutely amazing birthday celebration, and she needs to be focused on solely on this special day of yours. So I said, okay, your job as a husband is to get her out of the house. I don't care how you do it, just get her out of the house. And so waking up first thing in the morning, you came out to lawn signs on your lawn to wish you a
Yes,
happy
I
birthday.
did. I was in shock.
And then throughout the day, you went out with Rob, and the kids and I came to your house, and we had received gifts from some small businesses within the community, that they wanted to give you as a birthday gift. And we had a cake made as well. And the boys and I went out and got decorations, and we decorated your kitchen and your house so that when you came home, you were going to be like, okay, wait a second, who is here? And we wanted to make sure that you had a wonderful celebration, and that the day was all about you. And the kids just loved doing that. Like they were still critiquing this and how that looked. And I'm like, okay, we need to get out of the house because they're on their way. And even Mason's like, well, can we just go upstairs and hide? I'm like, no, no. I'm
That's
like, no,
awesome.
no, we need
Oh,
to go, and we will talk to them later.
You
So
did
yeah.
such an outstanding job, and I had no idea. I mean, the lawn signs were enough. Like, looking out the front in the morning with my coffee, going, "Wait a second, what are all these lawn signs?" So that in itself was amazing. And then we went to HomeSense. You were allowed to go into HomeSense, and we were doing some, browsing and shopping, and so that's how he got me out of the house. And then when we got home and opened the door, I'm like, oh my God, there's balloons everywhere and signs and flowers. And I was like, wow, I actually very rarely have had a birthday experience like that before. So you have to know how much it meant. And the fact that your boys got involved with that
Oh yeah, they
makes it such so meaningful.
yeah. Yeah. And they wanted to do more. And I'm like, well, first of all, this isn't our house.
Wait till they're older and they can like leave bottles of fine wine all over the place.
Right?
But then fast forward to March and you did the same thing for Rob. Like
Yeah. We
you
didn't
just
want to leave him left out.
well, you
We didn't
didn't.
want to leave him left out. No, no.
And it really touched him too because as you can imagine, he went through probably more trauma than me, as weird as that sounds, just because he was fully aware of everything for the whole time. So the fact that someone like yourself went out of their way to do so much to not only support me but support him means a tremendous amount to both of us. Like we can't even tell you. And every single person watching this that contributed to the meal train, whether you're a family or a business, a restaurant, because we received a lot of meals from restaurants, whether you gave a gift card to a restaurant, which we've mostly used already, thank you. We are so very grateful and thankful for your show of love and support to complete strangers. It meant a great deal, so thank you. So I know you kind of touched on this already, but after this experience, how has your impression of the Whitby and Brooklyn community been impacted, if at all, by the show of support that was received through your initiative?
I already knew that we lived in an incredible community beforehand. But like I had mentioned when we were talking before, during the COVID-19 pandemic and during the meal train that I organized for yourself and Rob, it's just blown me away. Just wow. Like,
Yeah.
I have been so impressed, I guess the word to say, of the acts of kindness that strangers have given to other people within our community, to strangers, because we all know what it felt like March of 2020. Looking out on the street and not seeing a car anywhere, not seeing a human being. And then it got to the point where you were walking down the sidewalk, and if you saw someone ahead of you, they'd cross the road, and it was like,
Yeah.
okay, no one's going to talk to anybody anymore. No one's going to interact. No one's going to socialize. And then it's like something changed. And even though we did have to cross the street, we still would make eye contact and acknowledge that other individual and say, good morning, good afternoon. How are you today? Are you okay? And I even did that a couple of times walking home from dropping the boys off at school and seeing a mom, seeing a dad struggle or in tears. And you know what? Just asking them, are you okay? Do you need anything? Is there anything I can do? Goes a long way. And excuse me, I think whether or not you direct those questions towards one individual or you throw it out on social media, regardless of how you ask, there's always going to be someone there to help you. And in your situation, it was over 200 people. And I was just like, oh my gosh. And some were friends of mine, some were family, some were neighbors of yours and Rob's, and then some were complete strangers. And it was like, wow, we truly live in one incredible community and we're like a family. We may not know one another, we may not talk every day, but we will be there to help you get through those struggles in life and make sure that we come out at the end smiling and happy. And like I said, it all comes down to being mindful and respectful of one another because you do not know what they're dealing with, their situation within their household, the items or stuff that they have encountered in the past. You just don't know.
You just don't.
So just think about the things you say or your actions before you do them because it could either really, really have a negative effect or a real positive effect, like so many did with yourself and Rob. Like
Well,
it was too
it
big
was
about.
overwhelming. Well, I've said this to a few people, and it relates very much to the meal train. When I came home and received so many gifts and shows of support and meals, I felt guilty. As oddly as that sounds, like I didn't do anything to deserve this. Why am I getting
And
so much love? You know, it's a weird.
that's how
It's
I am
right.
too.
Yeah, you feel guilty. But then, like when you said, we're kind of we got so many people volunteering. Should we put an end to it? I talked to Rob, and I was saying to Rob that, if people want to show love and want to give in some small way, let them. Because
Yeah.
sometimes that's all they can do, but people just want to show they support you. They just want to help, and like even with the GoFundMe, even donations like $10, like those kinds of small shows, acts of love and acts of kindness, they go a long way. Just like you said, to buoying me up because I was never let to come down to a depressed kind of state because every day there was someone else lifting me up. It's like there was this train of people carrying me one day after the other,
And
lifting me up.
that's the huge thing about it because I'm also an advocate for mental health. And it was just like, okay, not only is she a fellow woman, um, but I know that after dealing with an event like this, there can be repercussions. There can be mental health conditions that may be developed. So, you know what? Whatever we have to do to help you get through that, and even still to this day, you're going to have the support behind you, like we were talking before we went online. You will have so many people behind you through this journey and even afterwards um, to say, hey, not just Kim you have to deal with, it's us. And watch out
I love
because
it.
we are going to kick ass.
Oh,
That's how I look at it.
girl
And like
power.
and like you said, $10, $5. One of the things that stuck up to on my mind is the amount of items that children did.
Yes.
So whether or not they did a lemonade stand and raised money and donated it to your GoFundMe account or cards that they sat down and really thought about. And I know one of the children uh, spent like a week trying to decide what they wanted to put in that card, and then they wanted to make sure that you got it. And I'm
Oh,
like, yes, I will make sure that she gets it and I will let you know when I've delivered. So it wasn't just a set group of people that showed their support. It was all ages. And every gender. And it was just mind blowing to see that. And I think that that was just a sign of what's to come, because you're going to have that support behind you till eternity, girlfriend. And like I said, we are going to kick ass.
I'll take it. Do you know what I wanted to ask? Because like I mentioned at the beginning, I'd never heard of a meal train before. So if people wanted to get involved in one or start one, is it just something you personally initiate, or is there like an organization around that?
Not not that I don't think there's an organization, and I could be wrong. I mean, you can Google anything. For
Might be a good
myself,
business idea for
yeah,
someone.
I know there is an app where you could input um, each individual, provide their email address for reminders, and develop a calendar. And I checked it out. And for myself personally, I like to visually see. And that's why I did calendars in my home office, to see each month and day,
Did you
because
take
I
a
need to
picture
just,
of that? Did you take a
I
picture of
might
your
have
process?
one, but
You
I
should send
had
me.
it lined up, and I had my papers on my desk. And whenever I hear, oh, we're first time parents, we're going to be having a baby soon, I jump on it.
Love it.
Or if somebody's hospitalized for some reason and they're coming home, hey, this goes a long way.
Yes.
And I think it is a good idea to provide to, whether it's a loved one or a complete stranger, and however you do it, whatever works, as long as the food and, like you said, the generosity that people want to offer is being accepted. It doesn't matter how you do it, it's that you're coming together and you're making that individual or individuals, um, you're helping them out and making them feel loved and appreciated every single every single day. Yeah.
Well, I can honestly say that this is a time, a period of time in the month for reflection for me. And as July 29th approaches, I want you to know how your act of kindness, your multiple acts of kindness through delivering the meals and just getting involved to do something like this, and the birthday celebrations, they meant a tremendous amount to me. And you're a wonderful human being. You have a huge heart, and I am forever grateful. I will never ever forget what you did for me. So thank you. Thank you very
Well,
much.
you are very welcome. You are very welcome. And we are so fortunate, meaning my family and I, to have met you and Rob and your family. And I'll tell you right now, you're stuck with us for life.
I'm okay with that. So I have a question. One last question for you. So to take the attention off of me necessarily, but do you have any words of advice for the women of Whitby? If you wanted to give a message to the women of Whitby and Brooklyn, we have to sort of marry those together. What would that be?
For the women of Whitby and Brooklyn, I think it's to keep on doing what we're doing. And it's all about having a strong support system. And with that strong support system, we can overcome anything. And I think coming together as a group, supporting one another is huge.
Yes.
And regardless, like I said earlier, regardless of the situation, we will be there to support one another. We understand one another better than anyone else.
Yes.
And asking for help is not a bad thing. Asking for help does not change you as a person, and accepting it goes a long way. Because, like I mentioned before, if nobody wanted to help you out, they would never have come forward to get in contact with myself, to get in contact with your cousin, or even have thrown the offer out there. So I think as women, within Durham region and Whitby and Brooklyn, we just have to be mindful and respectful of one another, and we have to support one another. And regardless, like I said, of the situation, we're never alone. We always have that support system behind us, and it's just
Love it.
incredible. I
Love
wouldn't
it.
want to be a part of any other community
Yeah.
because, let me tell you, there are some women that you do not want to cross their paths on a negative note. And
I get the sense you're one of those people.
no, when I need to be, I can be negative and I can hold my own. But
Assertive, not negative.
yes, assertive. But I think we as women can relate to one another. And that's where it comes into we will be there for each other, regardless of the time of day, regardless of the situation, 24/7. You are never alone. So that's
Thank you, Melissa. I feel that, and I wanna stand behind you in sending that message to the women of Whitby and Brooklyn, because if there's anything I personally can do, I'm there to do it. I'm that grateful. I would love to get involved to help anyone that needs help on any level, and follow your fine example. So I will say thank you one more time to you, Melissa, for all you've done, and I'm so glad to have been connected with you and met you, and I look forward to nurturing our relationship going forward.
yes.
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 Okay.
There's many more things to come for you and I. There's
many more things. Yes. Enjoy your 3 children and all of the good that they bring into your life. And as I always like to end videos by saying, be positive.